methods of movement for mobility to have the prana, the energy that's in your body, really move through. We do repetitious movement focused on a particular area of the body. And so today we're going to be doing hips, focusing mainly on opening up the hips. There'll be a little bit of strength. And once we move the energy through the hips, which is your second chakra, we will be then taking a restorative posture to kind of seal the whole thing in and relaxing at the end in Shavasana. So that's kind of the structure of the class. So if you'd like to start in a child's pose, coming into the center of your mat, knees wide, big toes to touch, and just reaching the arms forward, letting the hips sink back towards the heels and allowing the head to rest on the mat right at your third eye, right in between the brows. And just take some breaths here to begin to ground yourself down and come into the practice itself. And allow for the air to move freely in and out through the body, really feeling the expansion, the contraction of the rib cage. Noticing how you can feel the breath in the back line of your body. Maybe tapping into the pulse and rhythm of your own heart. And letting this be a time to go within. To disconnect from the outside world. And to reconnect with your essence. That still point within your body, your mind, your emotions that can surrender, that can be present, and that can relax. And taking a couple more breaths here. And when you're ready, starting to just rock the head gently from side to side, massaging the third eye center. And then slowly pushing the hands back, coming up into a tabletop position. So hands directly and wrists directly underneath the shoulders, knees under the hips, engaging through the core throughout this, using the bandhas, Uddiyana Bandha, belly button up and in towards the back of the spine, Mula Bandha, so drawing in of the perineum or a kegel in a woman. And we're going to start with the first motion or movement, a little bit of mobility here. So lift up your left knee. Make sure that it is hip height and the foot is flexed. And then create circles as if you're drawing big circles with your knee. And these can go forward to begin. And try to keep the hip high so that or the knee high so that it remains at hip level when you bring it up. And see if you can keep your pelvis as still as possible. You will need to engage the core in order to do that. And then go ahead and rotate the opposite direction. So backwards with your knee, big circles. Building a little heat, a little fire right away. And then extend the leg long, keeping the foot flexed so that the leg is active. Now bring it out to the side at a 90-degree angle and pulse. So kicking up with your toes towards the front of your space for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then reaching back for that foot with the right hand, coming into a little bit of a stretch. And if that's not available to you, you can always just extend the right or the left leg long in the right arm and come into a swimmer's pose. Breathing into whatever shape you've created, and then releasing. Good. And taking all that on the opposite side. So now right leg comes up, foot is flexed, and we rotate. And take your circles in the opposite direction. Engaging through the core, not losing that bandha, that lock engagement. Taking the leg long, bringing it out to a 90 degree from the side of the body and pulsing, kicking forward to the front of your space. For 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, reach back for the foot or come into that swimmer's variation. And take it a little higher for one more breath. And slowly release. And we'll come into a dragonfly now. So we're going to take our left foot forward as far as you can get it. And first just sink into the hip. So pushing the pelvis forward. I like to place my forearm on my knee and just come up here for a moment. You can take a half wrap. You can bring the other arm alongside the ear. But just really push the pelvis forward. Keep the spine long. And allow for that opening through the right hip flexor. Good, and now rocking back into our Ardha Hanumanasana, our half split pose. So coming up on the heel of the left foot, pushing the hips back. If your hands do not easily reach the floor, you can put blocks underneath them. You can be on fingertips, or you can be down lower. And we'll hold this for one breath, and then we'll bring some movement into it. So we're going to curl the back toes under, come forward onto the left foot, push the hips forward, and then straighten out, come up on the left heel and dive the head towards the knee. So both legs are straight, and that's the motion. Coming down, letting the right knee touch, gazing up, exhaling, releasing back and stretch. And a number of these with your breath, going at your pace, matching breath to movement. And the last one, as you drop down and your legs are straight, come in a little bit deeper and hold. Left toes are rising up towards the sky, digging into the left heel. Right heel is also lifted. Both legs are straight. And breathe in as you exhale, release back down, and taking the motion on the other side. So the right leg comes forward. And first we started by simply stretching out through the hip flexors. So sinking the hips towards the front of your mat, coming up high, maybe plant your right forearm on your knee, Arm can go reaching up high towards the sky, half wrap, or it can simply just hang. But keep your spine long, your gaze forward, and really feel the stretch now through the left hip flexor. And breathe. And now we'll take it into our movement. So curling the back toes under, lifting the left knee, coming into our stretch first this time, and then diving down into a lunge. And that is our motion. Exhaling back, inhale forward, exhale back, inhale forward. And just match your breath to movement, slow or as fast as you'd like. And last time, holding in this sort of modified pyramid pose. Left heel is lifted, right heel is digging down into the earth, the right toes pointed towards the sky, and you're just releasing down. Head is heavy. Breathe into the stretch. And then exhale, release. And coming back into our tabletop position. And just take a few hip circles. Let it feel good. So it's a nice barrel rolls, adding in a little cat and cow motion, a little chin tuck, and a head lift. If that feels good, and just rotate the other direction. And coming back into a place of stillness. And on your next exhale, go ahead and curl the back toes under. Lift the hips high for downward facing dog. And take a moment to come up high, lifting the heels up. And then shift the heels over to the right side of your mat and drop them down, getting a stretch through the left side body and into your hip. And coming back up to center, let the heels remain high and drop them down to the left side of the mat. Lower the hip a bit towards the floor so you really feel that stretch. And come back to center. And walking our hands back towards our feet. Just a moment in a ragdoll, reaching for opposite elbows, letting the head hang heavy. The weight coming towards the ball mounds of the feet. Release the hands and slowly roll up, one vertebra at a time, letting the head come up last. And we'll just take a few more moves on our feet now. So coming into a standing Tadasana. The feet, this is all depending on you. Some people we're going to do an Utkatasana series or a chair series. Some people like to have the feet hip distance in chair. Some people prefer them to be together so the big toes are touching. So you decide what works for you and just hold a Tadasana for a breath. Palms facing forward, spine is long, chin parallel to the floor. Feel the connection to the earth with the soles of your feet, drawing up that energy through the earth into your legs. And then go ahead, open the eyes if they're shut, and coming into your Utkatasana. So dropping the seat towards the heels. Weight is in the heels more than the toes. The toes should be light and fluffy. The arms can come alongside the ears, or if that's a problem with the shoulders, the hands can come to heart center. So we're going to take some moves here. First, just some Utkatasana squats. So allowing the arms to reach for just a moment. Exhale, dive the chest towards the thighs and let the arms fly behind. And then keep that low kind of seat and see if you can't draw the arms back up. And exhale, release back down. Inhale up, exhale, fly. Inhale up, exhale, fly. Couple more. Inhale up and hold, keeping hands up or at heart center, and then lifting the heels. And drop the right heel down, keep the left heel high, and switch. One more to each side. Both heels remain high. Sink a little lower for 5, 4, 3, 2. Last one. Let the heels release. Arms reach. Maybe a baby back bend here would feel good. Goalpost the arms. Exhale, hands through heart center and dive forward. And separate your feet here. Taking your choice of either Padangusthasana, peace fingers around the inside of the big toes, drawing the chest towards the thighs, or Padahastasana, where you stand on the palms, the toes tickling the wrists, drawing the chest towards the thighs, letting the elbows bow out to the sides of the room. And releasing that, coming back up slowly, articulate, let the head be heavy, and coming into a yogi squat series. So feet come so the toes are pointing to the outside of the room, a little bit more than hip distance. You can have your hands at heart center for this. You can have the arms high, whatever suits you. It's a little more difficult if the arms are up. We're going to squat down and see if we can't come right back up. So make sure you've got your feet positioned in such a way that you can use the muscles of your core as well as your legs to create this mobility. And the next time you're down, stay down. Bring the hands to heart center and allow the elbows to help push the insides of the knees out. And shut the eyes and be here, feeling into this stretch. Bringing the toes now closer into the body with the heels touching, coming into what's called garland pose. So what we're going to do is I've got my heels very high, my toes are touching, and I'm going to reach around my shins for the back of the heels and let the gaze be on the floor. Deep hip stretch through the groin, through the inner and outer hips. A bit of a compression as well. And last inhale in. As you exhale, you can come out. Coming onto your seat. Taking a Baddha Konasana, soles of the feet together, drawing the heels in towards the body. And let's just bounce here. Move some energy around, bounce the knees up and down. And then wrapping your hands around your toes if they're not there already. You can use your elbows again to push, and you can draw your body as close as you can towards your toes or towards the floor. And start to release into this stretch. Your head can go heavy. And slowly come back up. We'll take one more little stretch before we come into our held posture, our restorative posture. So I'm going to start with my left foot. I'm going to pick it up and place it in the crook of my right elbow, my right arm. And then I'm interlacing my fingers in front of my shin, making sure that the foot is flexed, trying to sit up as tall as possible and rocking the baby. Hold that in stillness for a moment. Maybe pull the leg in closer towards your heart. And release. And taking the opposite side, right leg comes into the crease of the left elbow. Interlace your fingers, wrapping this elbow around your knee, and rock the baby. Noticing any difference in the two sides, making peace with that. Two different sides, two different stories. And again, coming into stillness, really engaging through the core, drawing the spine long, pulling the leg in a little bit closer towards your heart. Inhale, and as you exhale, release. Good. Now we'll be coming into our restorative posture. If you have a bolster, awesome, you can use it. If you don't, anything else might work, or nothing at all. It isn't totally necessary, it's just nice. We're going to be coming into pigeon on the right side first. So I'm going to bring my left foot up towards my left wrist. Excuse me, I have my right foot. It doesn't really matter which one you use, just go for it. We'll do both sides. And then because I do have a bolster, I'm just going to pull this close in towards my body and release myself onto it. And just be here. If you don't have a prop, you can always come onto your forearms and hold the posture like this. And if you are a long-time practitioner and lover of pigeon, you can certainly just come into half pigeon with the head all the way down on the earth if you'd like. And we'll hold this posture for a number of breaths. Just seal in the work we did. Let the pranic energy that we sort of woke up, energized, started to move. Let it now settle into places it's needed to create some nourishment, a little bit more space in the hips themselves. And just allowing yourself to surrender into this posture. And let the breath begin to slow. Feel the heartbeat following suit, slowing down as well. And sink a little bit deeper into this posture. Last couple of breaths. And take one final inhale, and as you're exhaling, just pull your hands back towards your body. Use them to help you push yourself upright. And then taking the body into a tabletop. Maybe a few cat and cows in between to kind of reset the spine. And when you are ready, making your way into pigeon on the opposite side. Letting the right leg go long behind you. The left foot comes towards the right wrist. And releasing into your version of pigeon on this side. And settling in, breathing, allowing for the differences, allowing for the release. And our time is pretty much up. So if you'd like to hold pigeon a while longer and then make your way into a final Shavasana, remember Shavasana, corpse pose, is probably the most important part of the practice. So rolling onto your back when you are ready, allowing the arms to come alongside the body, let the feet be just naturally opened out to the sides, and taking in a few moments of a final resting posture in Shavasana to seal the practice in. Thank you. I'll leave you now. Thank you for joining me today for this practice. Blessings and love to all of you. Namaste.